You ever have one of those moments where someone looks right at you, sizes you up in half a heartbeat, and decides you don't belong, like you're standing in the wrong part of the airport, the wrong row, even the wrong universe? Yeah, that happened to me. Except this time, it came with a stinging slap from a captain who didn't just question my ticket, but my existence in first class. What he didn't know, what nobody in that glittering cabin knew, was that I owned the place literally. 70% of Skyline Airways signed, sealed, and delivered just the day before. Let me back up a sec. My name's Jasmine Williams, and if you'd seen me that morning, you wouldn't have pegged me as the new boss. I wore old jeans, a navy hoodie, Nikes, my hair pulled back, no diamonds, no designer bag, nothing to hint I'd built Turnova Tech into a billion-dollar empire and just bought myself a major airline. That's how I wanted it. No press, no fuss, just a regular passenger with a regular ticket, looking to see what my new company was really like. Funny how the computer system had other plans, bumping me up to first class as a platinum flyer, not as the owner. I almost said no. I wanted the economy experience, but hey, why not check out how the top end rolls too? So I boarded quietly, keeping my eyes open, taking mental notes. The terminal was chaotic. Signs pointed every which way. The boarding process felt like herding cats, but I was used to moving in spaces not built for folks like me. Meanwhile, up in the cockpit, Captain Bradley Silverhair, proud as a peacock in a uniform crusted with medals, was playing king of the skies, sharing coffee with his favorite flight attendant, and scowling at reports that someone in 2A doesn't fit the first-class profile. Hoodie, jeans, brown skin. You know the vibe. He strutted out to greet his usuals, skipping me as if I was part of the furniture. I took it all in. The subtle slights, the flight attendant bringing everyone else champagne, never circling back with the water I politely asked for twice. The guy across the aisle muttering about welfare points, loud enough to get a chuckle out of Bradley. It wasn't new, but it burned. You never really get used to being invisible and hyper-visible at the same time. 15 minutes and still no water. I unbuckled and stood to find an attendant myself. If service won't come to you, go to service. That's when Captain Bradley cut me off, voice oozing authority, ordering me to sit because the seatbelt sign is on. I told him I'd comply as soon as I could talk to a flight attendant. He demanded my boarding pass, something I didn't see him ask any of the suited men around me. I showed it to him. He scowled, saying it must be a computer glitch, that first class is for regular passengers. I explained as calm as I could that it was a complimentary upgrade. He didn't buy it. Now every eye was on us. You could feel the tension like a storm rolling in. Henderson in 1C piped up about some people not knowing their place. The kind of line that travels straight from country clubs to corporate offices to airplane cabins. I'd heard it all before, just never this loud, this public, this hostile. Bradley insisted he had final authority over seating and threatened to move me to economy. I said I was comfortable where I was. Then, deciding enough was enough, I pulled out my phone to record the interaction, wanting a record of what was happening. That's when he snapped. He slapped my wrist, knocking my phone to the floor. Caught my cheek too. The cabin gasped. For a second, even his fans looked rattled. "You just assaulted me," I said, steady as I could. He blustered about regulations, but it was clear to everyone I was losing control. He barked for security. They came, 2 burly guys, more bored than angry, told me I'd have to leave. I asked why. They didn't answer, just said, "Captain's authority." I explained calmly. I had a valid ticket. I'd followed instructions. The captain hit me when I tried to record his behavior. Passengers started arguing, some backing me up, others grumbling about delays. The tension split along the lines you'd expect, racial and otherwise, with a few surprises. An older white woman called out the captain, and a young black man in business class demanded an explanation. I asked to speak to Skyline management and requested their badge numbers. They stalled, but I wouldn't back down. After a radio call, the taller officer said management was on the way. I sat back, refusing to be quietly ushered off my own plane. Enter Alexandra Thompson, COO, heels clacking, nerves of steel under her blazer. She took one look at Bradley, then at me, and asked if we could talk in private. I agreed so long as it was clear I wasn't voluntarily deplaning. She led me to the lounge. As we walked past Bradley, he barked at Alexandra to hurry up and get the flight moving. She told him, cold as ice, to prep for a new first officer and leave her to do her job. In the lounge, Alexandra listened to my story that ignored requests, the captain's open bias, the SLAP. Her face grew troubled, and when I showed her my ID, something clicked in her memory. But before she could ask about it, Bradley barged in, railing about how I couldn't follow simple instructions, denying any racism, making it sound like I played a card instead of calling out real behavior. Alexandra's phone rang. It was the CEO. From the look on her face, the puzzle pieces had just fallen into place. I handed Alexandra my business card. She read it, her face going pale. You're the CEO of Nova Tech. Bradley looked confused. Then the CEO came on screen and spelled it out. Ms. Williams is our new majority owner. As of yesterday, the silence that followed could have filled a hangar. Bradley blustered that he couldn't have known, but I made it clear it shouldn't matter who a passenger is. He was ordered off the flight, suspended pending investigation. Alexandra apologized, but I pushed further. How many complaints have been filed against Bradley before today? The number was more than 0. That much was obvious from Alexandra's face. I told them, that ends now. No more protecting people who violate our values. Over the next few days, things moved fast. Video of the SLAP hit social media and blew up Skyline SLAP, trended everywhere. Passengers and even some staff spoke out, sharing stories of discrimination. I called for a full audit of complaints, mandatory training, and, for the first time, a real whistleblower office. PR tried to spin, but I shut it down. No sugarcoating, just facts, action, and apologies. The pilots' union fought back, but evidence stacked up: grainy video, witness statements, Bradley's own words. The board grumbled about reputation, but data didn't lie. Complaints of racial bias were far higher than average, and customers were voting with their feet. By week's end, I'd met with every department, listened to the employees who'd been sidelined, and began rebuilding the culture from the inside out. I wasn't after revenge, I wanted systemic change. Of course, Bradley didn't go quietly. He went on TV, painted himself as a victim of woke leadership, sued for wrongful suspension. The media ate it up, but I stayed focused, rolling out reforms, changing who had power, making it safe for people to finally speak up. 1 week after, I held a company-wide town hall. I stood on stage now in a suit. Not a hoodie, explained exactly what happened and what would change. Employees asked hard questions. I answered honestly. Not everyone was happy. Some felt Bradley was a scapegoat. I showed them the history, the patterns, the way the system had failed everyone. I made it clear this wasn't about one man, but about all the people the system had ignored, harmed, or silenced. 6 months later, I stood on the tarmac in San Francisco, a newly painted flagship behind me, Skyline's logo now ringed with colors. Bradley's lawsuit had fizzled more evidence, more people coming forward, even a recording from the cockpit finally exposed the depth of the problem. I'd promoted Alexandra to president of operations. Employee retention soared, complaints plummeted, and our market share hit a record high. Addressing discrimination hadn't killed the business, it saved it. Then came the surprise. As cameras rolled, I announced I'd be flying the inaugural new Skyline flight as captain. Yep, turns out before tech, I earned my pilot's license, kept it up all these years. I took the seat up front, a young woman of color beside me, as first officer. The cabin was a rainbow of passengers, all treated with respect, all there because they belonged. As we taxied for takeoff, I caught a glimpse of Bradley watching from the terminal, the weight of lost authority on his shoulders. Our eyes met. He looked away first, and I focused on what mattered, moving forward, not looking back. At 35,000 feet, I finally had a moment to breathe. From up here, you can see how everything connects: the ground, the sky, all the invisible boundaries people draw, and the ones you break when you dare to belong. What started as a slap meant to put me in my place had ended up shattering the ceiling for a whole industry. I call it progress. So here's my question for you. Would you have revealed your hand right away, or waited to see what people would do when they thought you were just another passenger? What's the real measure of justice punishing the villain or changing the game for everyone? Drop your thoughts below. Was I right to wait? Should Bradley have gotten another chance? Or was it time for a hard reset? Hit like if you believe real change means tackling the system, not just the symptom. Subscribe if you want more stories where the underestimated walk right into the captain's seat. And next time you see someone in first class who doesn't fit, maybe ask yourself, what if that person owns the whole damn plane?